Hello everyone, my name is Zeotrex, and today we're taking a look at Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, the sequel to the 2018 movie Into the Spider-Verse. We follow Miles Morales as he is going around New York and saving people, and then he meets someone named The Spot. However, messing around with The Spot gets him into some multiversal trouble and gets him into the battle with Miguel O'Hara. That's what I'm going to say without spoilers, you know the drill. So I saw this movie last night, and damn, I love Into the Spider-Verse. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. It's my second favorite movie for a long. It was my first. It was my favorite movie for a really long time, and then became my second favorite movie after the Batman came out. But I still really love it. It's in my top 3 Spider-Man movies, and so I was hyped for Across the Spider-Verse. And what did I think about it? Damn, that was great. Across the Spider-Verse takes everything great about the first movie and cranks it up to 102, because goddamn, this movie that's whoo. First of all, let's turn off this light. This is right in my eye. Ow. Not turn it off, but just so the first thing I want to talk about is the animation. So Into the Spider-Verse gets praised a lot because of its unique animation and how it literally actually changed the animation genre. Mitchell's versus the Machines, Arcane, Puss in Boots, the new TMNT movie. They all take this sort of 2D, 3D-ish like animation style and make what is a really damn good art style for the movie. So what Across the Spider-Verse does is every single Spider-Man universe, they make it a different art style, and like every different Spider-Man has a different art style. You know what I'm saying? The beginning of the movie, we begin with Gwen Stacy's universe, and it's a lot like color heavy. It's heavily colored, which made for a beautiful experience while sitting there in the theater watching this. And there is something I do want to talk about when it comes to the theater. Don't worry, no crying baby, no. There was a crying baby though, but I shut it up real quick. So no bad theater experience here. But damn, the anime. I know I'm gonna say damn a lot, but it's how I describe this movie. The animation for each like Spider-Man and Spider-Man world is beautiful. Not only do we get the really fun and energetic style for Miles's world, we get the heavily colored based for heavily colored shading, all that for Gwen's world. And then, then all the different Spider-Man that we see, that's great to see. So where do I begin? Because I'm trying not to spoiler do spoilers. So let's talk about Miles Morales' story in this movie is great. There's a lot more heavy emphasis on the family side of things, and also I noticed this a lot heavy emphasis on the culture, the Puerto Rican Hispanic culture of his, which is great. Which is great to see. I have a Hispanic friend. I'd have to ask, like, hey, what did you think about all that aspect? Because I'm white. I'm white, but I really did enjoy seeing this. I love seeing like that kind of stuff in movies where we see a like family culture and all that. That's what I loved about Miss Marvel. That's why I love Miles Morales. It's because he's so heavily like culture based. And the relationship he has with his mother and his father is great. His mother understanding that he's growing up. He is no longer the little boy that she wanted. And I think that is beautiful. I think that's pretty... I really love the relationship, how they kind of touch upon Uncle Aaron a bit. We'll get to that in the end. And then there's the relationship with him and Gwen. Now, going into this movie, there was some kind of controversy saying about Gwen and Miles. I kind of knew that this would happen. I'm not the biggest fan of that dynamic from the comics. for the comics, but I mean, it does make sense in this universe. However, it's not that apparent. It's more so like Miles kind of has a little crush on Gwen, which I thought was cute. They don't try to make it a relationship. It's just that Gwen's feelings towards Miles is that, like, you're the first friend I've made in a long while, and I'm so glad that they explored Gwen's story more, going into her Peter Parker, how she's scared to reveal herself to her father because he thinks that she murdered Peter Parker. And I'm glad that we got that relationship. Gwen has a full... This is a Gwen Stacy movie for the most part, for a bit. We begin with Gwen and end with Gwen. Gwen has her own... Gwen has a character arc throughout this movie, and I think that's perfect. She, you know, learns a lot about herself. She learns about Miles, and, you know, there's a lot. Again, there's a lot I want to talk about that's not like spoilers. So that's what's hard, is trying to discuss non-spoilers. So let's talk about the villain, the Spot. What a funny villain. What a funny, but also terrifying villain. This Spot origin story, which I will get into later, was like, what the hell? You're doing that? I think what they did with the Spot was great, because he's built off as this stupid villain of the week, another like Wall or Big Wheel or, you know, Armadillo Man or whatever. He's built off as like this kind of goofy villain trying to rob an ATM, and that whole sequence of him fighting Miles was pretty funny. You know, he's not that big of a threat, but as the movie progresses, he's like, oh my god, this guy is becoming terrifying. This dude is becoming like a god, pretty much. So I'm glad that they were able to take such a silly villain such as the Spot, who you wouldn't think as the main villain for the biggest Spider-Man movies, and they built it upon and made him, you know, a threat. And that's what I liked. However, in my opinion, the Spot isn't the villain of this movie. He's the villain of Across and Beyond the Spider-Verse, but he's not really the villain of this movie. The villain of this movie, the main antagonist, Miguel O'Hara. Dude hates Miles at this point. Miguel O'Hara is, I think, the best character in this movie. There's a scene where Miguel O'Hara, he has understandable motives. You understand why he's mad at Miles, but it's also like, calm the hell down, bro. He is fucking vicious. He is a beast in this movie. And we knew that he would not be like joking around once he slammed Miles into the train, or, you know, he has fangs. He is a threat. And I find it funny that in the post-credits of the last movie, he was a joke. He was like, hey, well, stop pointing at me. In this movie, he is used for humor a bit, but damn, is he like... Oh, dude, Miguel. His theme also just fucking elevates the entire thing. So, in my opinion, I think Miguel O'Hara is definitely more of the villain of this movie than, say, you know, the Spot. And speaking of villains, I like some of the other villains we see. We see a Rhino, we see an Armadillo, but we don't really get that many villains like the last movie where we got Scorpion or Tombstone or Doc Ock or Kingpin and Prowler. Really, it is just the Spot as the main villain, but, you know, Miguel O'Hara is the antagonist. So, again, he has understandable motives. You would understand why is he mad, because the whole explanation as to why Miguel is so mad at Miles... Spoilers. I'm getting into spoilers when we talk about that. That, like, blew my fucking mind. So, talking about... By the way, this video is not scripted. I don't have the script up. There's a lot I want to talk about, so it's raw footage. So, again, Miguel's motives, understandable, but also calm down a bit. And also the other Spider person he works with, Jessica Drew, she's cool. She's just doing her job. She's not really, like, mad at anyone. It's just that she's like, this is my job, we have to do it. But my issue is her design. So this is Jessica Drew, right? And you know, I don't have the issue that they race swapped her. The issue with her design is that this is very clearly a different fucking Spider-Woman. There is a Spider-Woman who looks like her. So let me actually look. I'm looking for her. I don't remember. Valeri. Her name is Valeri. This is Valeri, not Jessica Drew. And they also do that Jessica pregnant Spider-Woman thing. I'm scared to look that up. Yeah, they do that pregnant Spider-Woman thing. So the issue isn't her race. It's more so just like that is very clearly a different character that you're calling another character, combining characters. You know, which also we'll get into the race side a bit later because it's fucking ridiculous. I'm not warning. I'm not like gonna say, oh, this movie's woke, but a lot of people are, some people are saying that this movie is woke, and I'm gonna talk about that later on because you guys are so fucking stupid. But yeah, one of my issues, however, was Ben Reilly. He doesn't do that much. He is kind of presented and told as Miguel's right-hand man, like he works alongside Miguel. But he doesn't do that much. I think he was funny. I think he was funny. But the issue is that he doesn't really do that much. He doesn't have that much screen time, sadly. I think that's it. So I hope we see him in the next film. Peter's relationship with Miles was great, and the action, bro. The action with the animation, it was woo! It's just such eye candy to watch, you know, just sitting there watching the hype, the animation, the frame rate, all of that. My friend mentioned it's so weird to watch a 24 frame movie and then go back and everything's in real time, like go walk out of the theater. But damn, bro, what a fantastic movie. I want to talk about a few of the Spider people before we get into spoilers. Pavitr, I like Pavitr. I think what they did with his character, he's fun, energetic, and I think the role he plays into the story is pretty cool. Again, spoilers. I have to get into spoilers to talk about that. And then Spider-Punk, or Hobie, I'm not going to call him Spider-Punk. He's being called Spider-Punk. I'm going to respect the character. Hobie's relationship with Gwen and Miles, it was kind of teased as a love triangle. It's not really that in the movie. It's more so like Miles is like, who's this? Who you talking to? But Hobie's like that cool cousin that you hang around with. I think Hobie is fucking awesome. Gwen is great as well. What other spider people, like what spider people can I talk about without getting into spoilers? There was a Spectacular. We knew he was going to be in the movie. Didn't expect him to have a speaking role. I wish he had a bit more screen time, but hey, cool that he got a speaking role, even if it was one line. Spider Horse, that was cool. The Spider plushie, there's Spider Cat, Spider Rex, all of that fun stuff, which and also this isn't a spoiler, he was in the trailer, Insomniac Spider-Man. I thought that was really cool. That does beg a question. Okay, so in the movie we see that there's sort of like a weird little plot hole, not a plot hole, but something that you gotta think about, is that it's mentioned that Miles isn't, that's spoilers. So, okay, we see Yankee, or Genki as it's pronounced in the movie, which, by the way, I wish we got some more relationship with him. He's Miles' best friend, you know. We see Genki and Miles, you know, talk, and I noticed that he was playing Spider-Man PS4 or PS5 because of the HUD. Question: how is that gonna work? Because I understand if Insomniac Spider-Man is in the they didn't have any other Spider-Man Funko Pops at the mall. It was just Spider-Man India, but I wanted Miles, by the way. We see Insomniac Spider-Man, so it's like, okay, it makes sense. That universe came to reality. But I know I'm overthinking this, but I think it's weird to think about the fact that Genki is playing a game in which Miles Morales is Spider-Man. Actually, okay, yeah, comics exist of Spider-Man that also have Peter Parker. I know, I'm thinking way too hard into this. It's funny to think about. But hey, we got Insomniac Spider-Man in the movie. That's pretty cool. And there's a few cameos that we'll talk about those in spoilers. So, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is by far the best Spider-Man movie. With its stellar animation, what it does with its story is insane. The characters, the arcs, everything about this movie, it's an A+ for me. It's an A+. Marvel is winning right now. So, let's get into spoilers. And before we get into the whole canon thing, which just fucking blew my mind, canon and ending, I want to talk about some of the fun cameos that I saw in the movie. So, okay, let's see. Spider-Man Unlimited. I saw Spider-Man Unlimited, Bombastic Bagman. Oh, who else was there? Didn't expect... there's this scene where the Spot is in, like, the void. And he's like, okay, let's see what universe I could go to. He goes to, like, an old vintage comic book. And then he goes to the fucking Lego universe. And what I find so funny is that Lego Spider-Man was the one who told Miguel about the anomaly. Wow. That's funny. And then he goes to see Mrs. Chen, so there's your Venom cameo. So yeah, Lego Spider-Man, that was cool. Spider plushie. There's a lot of cool Spider-Man in the movie. I thought that was really awesome. Who else is there? So now getting into the canon event. So Miguel O'Hara, the reason why he is upset is because Miles accidentally disrupted a canon event. Pavitr was so happy. He was like, oh, I'm a happy, joyous little Spider-Man. And then he's dating a girl, and her father is Captain. Miguel mentions that if you're friends with a captain, that captain has to die. That is how it happens. You have to lose your uncle. Like it's genuine. It's a genuine thing. You have to lose someone close to you, and then you got to lose a captain. And then because Miles saved the captain, he disrupted that event. He disrupted the canon event, crumbling the world. So, like, Miguel is like, he shows all of the, like, okay, you know, he lost Captain Stacy, and then we get an Andrew cameo. It's recycled footage, but holy damn, that's Andrew Garfield. That's the werewolf Spider-Man. I also saw werewolf Spider-Man, so there's your Andrew cameo. And so it's like, you know, everyone had to lose Uncle Ben. Everyone has to lose Captain Stacy. You saving that guy destroyed that world. It's causing that world to fall apart because you disrupted a canon event. Everything is written, like, every Spider-Man has to experience that tragedy. And then Miles is like, wait, my dad's gonna become captain. And there's that feeling of like, I don't want to lose my dad. But there's also the risk that if I save my dad, my world's gonna crumble. And I also like how they kind of like fix up a plot hole with another movie, Morbius, because Miles Morales isn't... Okay, I don't want to word this the wrong way. In the movie, Miles Morales wasn't supposed to be bitten by that spider. What it was that because that spider was from a different universe, he's the original anomaly, and because of him, the multiverse is kind of wonky a bit. So Vulture could have just been sucked up. By the way, that's how Vulture got into Gwen's world. Who, by the way, I love Vulture's design here. I love what they did with the old vintage Leonardo DiCaprio stuff. But back to what I was saying, it could explain how Vulture from the MCU got sucked up and pulled into Morbius's world. Completely different from the No Way Home Doctor Strange event. And oh, speaking of which, I thought this was really cool. When Miguel shows like the timeline in the multiverse, it's the same exact like model used for the MCU. So because of the Venom cameo and Venom being connected to the MCU, technically, Spider-Verse is connected to the MCU. Because there's also the Andrew event and the Tobey Maguire cameo, which again recycled footage, but all that. But the like most solid evidence that this movie is connected to the MCU, Donald Glover as fucking Aaron Davis. We see him in the Prowler costume. I wish we saw the mask, but we see him in the Prowler suit, and it's like, wow, dude, that was insane to see. Live action Prowler, finally. I hope that means he's in Spider-Man 4. But also, and I also want to talk about how like important like Donald Glover is to the character of Miles Morales. So back then in the show called Community, he was wearing a shirt, and then the writer for Miles was like, the guy who created Miles, he was like, pretty cool. And then he created Miles. There was a campaign to get him to play Spider-Man. So that didn't work out, and then he became Aaron Davis. He voiced Miles in a show, so he is a very heavily involved with Spider-Man, and I think that was really cool, man. I think that Aaron Davis cameo was cool. And also the Spot's origin story. I thought the Spot, what they did with him was the Spot's origin story is so unexpected. He was the guy that Miles threw the bagel at. You know how in the first movie Miles steals a bagel and then he throws it at someone? That's the villain. That's the villain of this movie. Who would have thunk? But he is also the reason why Miles got bitten by the spider. Because he created the machine. The machine brought the spider in from Earth 42. That bit Miles. And that's why he's an anomaly, because that spider is not from his world, it's from his. So when Miles tries to go home, he's running away from all these people. And there's a few more sequences I want to talk about before we get to the ending. When he's running away, Miguel does not fucking hesitate in what he says. He is chasing down him. He's like, you shouldn't exist. You're a mistake. You should kill yourself now. You serve zero purpose. Motherfucker. Miguel, calm down. He's a kid. He's just a kid. And just, it was so intense. And then Miles is like, nah, I'm gonna do my own thing. I'm tired of everyone telling me how my story should go. So he throws Miguel, and then Miguel's like, fucking kill him. I don't care. Kill the motherfucker. And then kill the motherfucker. I don't care. And then it leads to my favorite part of this entire movie. So when Miles gets sent back home, we get one of the most beautiful scenes in the movie where Miguel, Ben, and Jessica are looking for Miles. Jessica, I went to go stalk Gwen Stacy to see if she's doing her thing. And then it's just the colors and the music. Miles swinging through, hearing everyone voices in his head. It's like, God, the visuals, bro. The visuals. I don't know what to really name this scene. I'm trying to look for it because it's one of my favorite scenes of the entire movie. It was a surreal ass experience watching it. So Miles is like, all right, I'm home. I have something to tell you, Mom. I'm Spider-Man. Who? Whoa. He went back to Earth 42. He went back to the dimension the spider came from. And because the spider bit him, there's no Spider-Man in that universe. New York is a complete shithole now. And Aaron Davis is alive. Ooh! But he's not Prowler. Ooh! This version, because his dad is dead, he never grew up to learn responsibility. He grew up with his crooked uncle. Who? Ooh, dude. Ugh. Miles Morales in this movie is Prowler. Gwen assembles a team. We get Spider-Ham and Noir back. They don't speak, but cool to know that they're going to be in the next one. Penny Parker returns, who we also see earlier, and I'm not sure if it's the same Penny, which is an interesting thought. And then, to be continued. It's like, oh my god, I understand why the movie has to end like that. But damn, is it so like, you have me at the edge of my seat, bro. I just want to watch. So, what are some theories? Some theories involve time travel. He goes back, stops Peter from dying. There's also the theory that maybe Miles has to accept the fact that his father is gonna die. There's the theory of whether or not Miguel. There's the theory on Miles saving. There's a tons of theories out there, and I don't really know what I'm gonna think. I think the main villain of the next one will definitely be the Spot, but I also think it will be Miles as the Prowler. I think we will get that. I think maybe they're gonna work together because he's like, so your dad's alive in that universe? I think maybe he is like trying to get Miles to get to his universe so that he could have his dad, but Miles has to stop the other Miles from doing that. And that's all my thoughts on this movie, honestly. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is by far like the best Spider-Man movie. It's in the top 3 for sure with Spider-Man 2 and Into the Spider-Verse. And I am so excited for Beyond the Spider-Verse. It comes out next year, which I think it might get delayed, but I hope it doesn't. And until then, that's all, folks. Wait, are we allowed to say that?